Well, we're joined now from Birmingham by Faeeza Vaid, who's the Executive Director of the Muslim Women's Network, and here with us in Westminster is the lawyer Anne-Marie Hutchinson. And Anne-Marie, last year 1,300 cases, 82% of them relating to women, 74 different countries involved, 43% Pakistan, 11% India and 10% to Bangladesh. Is this new law going to make much difference?
Well, those are the figures of the FMU, and I think it's important to say those are not reflective of the true figures. There are many more cases. Will the law make a difference? Well, we need to be very carefully monitoring it, looking at how effective it will be now to criminalise, to make forced marriage itself a criminal offence.
Because a lot of these marriages, as I understand it, take place abroad.
Yes, indeed.
So
but the statute says you can prosecute, provide if the person, the victim or the perpetrator, and that can be an aider and abettor, reside in this country, so they don't have to be a national, then it doesn't matter that the event takes place overseas, we can still prosecute. So it's extraterritorial in that respect. The other thing the Act has done is made it a criminal offence to breach a forced marriage order. And it's also another offence, which is taking somebody abroad by a deception with the intention that once abroad they should marry. So it's going to catch a wide range of people.
People will need to come back to this country, though, obviously, to get caught up in the...
Well, but that's normally what happens, you see. It's our young people from this country going abroad, marrying, coming back to this country, sponsoring their spouse to live in this country. Normally, most people want to live in this country. So they are accessible.
Let's bring Faeeza Vaid from the Muslim Women's Network, who's in Birmingham for us. Faeeza, what do you think about this being made a criminal act? Is this actually going to help? Because we're talking about vulnerable people here, men as well as women, who effectively, if they come forward, would be sending a member of their family to prison.
Well, one of the main reasons that the Muslim Women's Network welcomes this new criminal law is because it adds another level of protection to vulnerable victims of forced marriage. We're under no illusion, though, that the law itself will eradicate all forced marriages. There's a number of other avenues which we need to explore and investigate and support those victims going through forced marriages. And for me, that is the main message, that we all need to work together. All departments, all government departments need to raise awareness of this issue, and we need to ensure that the support for victims is there. So when reporting happens in police stations, we need to ensure that the police themselves know how to deal with the case in a culturally sensitive manner and a common sense manner as well.
Anne-Marie, do you think Faeeza's got a point there? They've sort of skimmed over the detail. We've got to the point where people can be put in prison for this. But, you know, there are concerns that no guidance has been issued to police or the Crown Prosecution as to how to implement this new law.
Indeed. I mean, that's the essential part. There's two parts to this government commitment. The first was criminalisation, and that went out to consultation. And there are different views about the effectiveness of the Act. But the second part of it was a support package. We were promised a support package for victims, including accommodation, more refugees, counselling, etc. And one will not work without the other. And we cannot have a situation where victims feel they've reported a position, feel they've not been protected, and there's been no prosecution or a failed prosecution, because the wrong message will be sent out by failed prosecutions or reluctance to prosecute.
Faeeza, this is a case, isn't it, where, if you like, the law is asserting British values over what some people would claim would be traditional family values?
Well, I think values is something that's been spoken about a lot right now, but to be honest with you, no religion justifies forced marriage. It's illegal according to Islamic values and according to my values. So I would say that we shouldn't hide under these other guises of what's acceptable and what is not. Forced marriage is now a crime, and we should stick to that message, because the idea is that we need this crime to be eradicated in Britain, and it's not acceptable today, and that's a message we all need to be sending out.
Is this about the Asian subcontinent and indeed the Islamic world, or does this go more widely than that?
No, it covers a wide range of people. Victims, male and female, India, Sudan, Somalia, the African states, West African states. So it is not an Islamic issue. I think many communities have different cultural practices which lead them to try and enforce this as a practice and say, well, it's the right thing for our children. They don't realise we're making the right choices for them. When they grow older, they'll appreciate it. And it's getting that message across to say, no, a choice is a choice. And we're in 2014, and young people must be allowed to make their own choices.
Anne-Marie and Faeeza, thank you both very much.
Thank you.